An open mind leaves a chance for someone to have a worthwhile thought in it. A lot of people nowadays are close minded, choosing not to think outside the box and look for the other side of the story, not wanting to broaden their perspective over one particular issue. Sex education. Sex education has always been controversial over teenagers to adults and past age. But then, a lot of individuals are refusing and not wanting to talk about it for the reason that they fear of how others would react in negative way and view it to be vulgar and nasty. The main objective of sex education is to educate young people about issues like sex, sexuality, and bodily movement. The importance of sex education has a lot of positive outcomes, especially for teenagers that have a lack of knowledge about sex education. But somehow, there are still people who choose to be close-minded about it. These are just some information about safe sex that prevents and benefits a lot, like unwanted pregnancy. Dude, if you're not ready for baby and family planning yet, do not have unsafe sex. Instead, learn sex education.
Bombastic side eye. And then we have STDs, or also known as sexually transmitted diseases, such as the first and most common one is HIV. You can get HIV if you have vaginal sex with someone who has HIV without using protection. And the other diseases you can get are syphilis, which can be transmitted during anal, oral, and as well as vaginal sex. Syphilis is passed from person to person through direct contact with a syphilis sore. Gonorrhea and chlamydia are both where sexually active people can get it through vaginal, anal, and oral sex without a condom.
Speaking of condom, the thin punches that keep sperm from getting into vagina has also a flavors to heated and sexual activity. Another trivia, did you know that females also have condoms? It was actually first used in 1990s era. It looks like a chewing gum. Yes, you heard it right. It looks like a chewing gum. The female were inserted inside their vagina and will expand in the vaginal canal. The one that the baby came, I came, you came out. Safe sex is important. I mean, it is a must. Moreover, sex education enhances responsible family planning and decreases the risk of associate with unsafe sexual activity. So, if you want to have a family, practice sex education.
In our country, the Philippines is progressively introducing sex education and access to contraceptions in order to resolve issues including overpopulation, high rates of teenage pregnancies, and the spread of STDs. Sex education includes increasing knowledge and improved attitudes towards sexual and reproductive health and behaviors. People are indeed need education when it comes to sex. In this video, we will talk about the difference between sex education in the Philippines and sex education in America when it comes to their knowledge about it. The sex education in the Philippine schools are mostly declined to educate students about sex, the morality of sex education, and how they should be portrayed in a classroom ought to be taught. However, why thus young Filipino people are lack of knowledge regarding to sex education? A large percentage of Filipinos argue that education is absurdly obscene and should not be addressed and discussed in circumstances where students are at school. This is why many people remain uninformed of the subject and merely laugh at it because they think it is disgusting when the subject of sex education is brought up to young people. The Philippines, the epicenter of Christianity in Asia, is a Catholic country. The majority of the population, more than 86%, is Christian. Catholic and other religious people choose to be close minded over sex education. As a result, the Catholic Church has a significant impact on the nation's sex education system. The Catholic Church disapproves of extramarital sex and worries that sex education would lead to an increase in sexual activity. In the other way around, Americans are open minded when it comes in sex. In certain instances, parents even allow their children to engage in sexual activity while they are not yet at the legal age.
How's that possible? Having sex life at the age of 12? Dude, in my age, I still had sparring round with letters because of me struggling with speaking fluently and play with my lovey-dovey dolls at home. Skip, skip, skip. Anyway, not of all the child was like that and has a situation like that. In America, the results of some 12 to 16 years old children are usually the age where they had their first experience of having sex. But we won't normalize that kind of condition here.
Looking and reading this article, it shows that America is making a progress to prevent teenage pregnancy that is happening in their country. It is because their parents have taught them how to use condoms and other sexual health related items. Other American parents even teach their kids about it at an early age of 10 for them to gain knowledge about it at a young age. With this result, it shows that they are much more open minded about this serious topic that people and teenagers should know about. With this knowledge, teenagers in America know how to do safe sex and cannot accidentally impregnate a woman. Sex education is about life skills, said Elizabeth Nash, an interim associate director of state issues at the Guttmacher Institute. There are so many aspects you take with you for the rest of your life, but you only get it once or twice in school. The vast majority of the population in the United States supports sex education. In a poll on sex education conducted by Planned Parenthood that we gathered by searching who agreed in sex education must be taught in school, 93% of parents supported having sex education taught in middle school, and 96% of parents supported having sex education taught in high school. We gathered information on which parents agreed that sex education should be taught to the children. Well, if you are a parent and your child is uneducated about sex, laughing over sex, that is not even funny. How would you feel? Laughing my ass loud, just hearing the word sex, is ludicrous to them. Ha ha ha. Fortunately, not everyone in America is informed and knowledgeable about sex, so they often engage in risky sexual behaviors that can lead to illness like those previously mentioned, early pregnancies, and other situations. Several cases of teenage pregnancy in the Philippines are very high, while in America is just average. Because even if the rate is higher in America, it is because it is a big country compared to the Philippines, which is a small country. That is why it is still average for the country, America. With these, it explains that Americans are much more open minded about sex education. Since teenage pregnancy is under the sex education category, many Filipino women or Asian women are a lot more conservative than Americans. Yet, at the same time, Filipino women are like more to get pregnant at the early age of 14, which is underage. Oh, like Maria Clara, huh? A very modest girl, my ass. That things in today's trade cannot be fulfilled anymore. Well, Maybe some other girls were literally both modest and can't break the plate on how she acts and is still like Maria Clara. Being conservative, like in One Talk and Flirt, they become lovers. Wow, what a speed. A lot of teenagers, or the worst, kids, learn a lot from their devices. They imitate what they frequently witness there.
If you're angry and you know it, pat your head. If you're angry and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're angry and you know it, pat your head.
Even though it can clarify to us that even if Filipinos are conservative, they are not that much educated when it comes to having safe sex or in sex education. So, what for of being conservative if you are uneducated about sex? You must know sex education even if you are conservative or opposite. For some, teenagers also gets information about sex from their peers and friends. Others could teach them but not properly or well. This indicates that people should have seminars to not let other teens teach their peers some wrong ways about sex education, for it may lead to teenage pregnancy, diseases, or STDs. Comprehensive sexuality education protects adolescents and creates an increasingly safe, welcoming community. Understanding one's rights and supporting those of others are healthy. Ensuring one's health and developing constructive perspectives on sexuality and relationships are all part of sexuality education. It also involves learning important and life skills like self assurance, critical thinking, and the ability to make wise judgments. Obviously, there is nothing wrong with having knowledge about sex. If you want to build a family, learn sex education. People need sex for overall health and the next generation. Learn safe sex for the betterment of all.